What's up, everybody? Tim here again at what the Turks call Galata Tower. Its original name was Christia Turris, the Latin name that the Byzantines called it. That actually means Tower of Christ, which is a pretty funny thing about this city. Istanbul, Constantinople was the center of Christianity for like a huge part of history, like hundreds of years. And there's just like no remnants of Christianity here anymore. So it's, yeah, that empire really fell apart. So this tower was in the city. It was more just for keeping an eye on the city, watching out for fires. But the Byzantines actually were geniuses at making towers. They had this entire system of towers that they would use as a messaging system. Because, you know, back in the day, the fastest you could send a message was on a horse. Maybe it could go, 50, 100 kilometers a day. And the Byzantines decided that is way too slow. So what they did is they wanted to talk at the speed of light. So they built hundreds of towers just like this, probably a pretty similar construction. And what they did, the furthest one was 720 kilometers away. And what they would do is they would sit there and basically look for enemy armies. And when they saw an enemy army, they would light a fire. It would just be like an open place here. They would light a fire on top. And then basically they had a tower every 50 kilometers or every 100 kilometers, depending on how hilly it was. And then when the next tower 50 kilometers away would see the fire, they would light a fire. And when the next tower saw it, they would light a fire. So they could literally translate a message 720 kilometers in just an hour. So imagine this, you have an army that, man, even like the most fit horses, like a cavalry army, they can only move like 100 kilometers a day. That's like super fresh racing horses. More likely only 50 kilometers. So it's basically, at best, they would have 7 days warning before the army could get to their town. At worst, like a foot army is going to take over a month to travel 700 kilometers. So that's how the Byzantine Empire managed to last for 1,200 years, because they basically just outsmarted everyone. I mean, imagine if you had a month to prepare for an incoming army. You would have like all your cannons ready, whatever, you could send an army out to meet them. So yeah, the Byzantines were just like way ahead of their time as far as outsmarting everyone in technology. And yeah, that's how they survived 1,200 years. Really, no army could touch them. The only reason they fell apart was just internal politics. People got greedy, the elite just started hoarding all the money for themselves instead of paying the army. And yeah, when there was no well-paid army left, the Europeans took it over. So remember, greed cometh before a fall.